There was a certain point in time where the rise of Zabit Magomedsharipov seemed like an inevitability within the landscape of the featherweight division and its future. With an odd physical build for the weight class, his limbs lanky, we became more and more familiar with his fighting style, the depth and overall diversity to his game that allowed him to keep surprising us. From a Showtime kick every now and then, to some of the flashiest trips and throws in the game, Zabit was pure entertainment each and every time he stepped into the octagon. And it wasn't just wildman stuff. Again, this guy had a level of depth that made him a legitimately high-level striker, an excellent takedown artist, and a submission threat from a wide range of positions. I know his cardio issues became as clear as day, but in my eyes that's not a death sentence for his aspirations of becoming champion. All in all though, Zabit was, and presumably still is, an elite talent, a standout fighter in the middle of one of the most interesting top 10s in the sport. Seriously, I know I've been raving about the merits of bantamweight as perhaps the single greatest division in the UFC, but the difference in quality between 135 pounds and 145 pounds is tiny by the looks of things. And in the featherweight division where there's such a wide range of styles and skills, modern approaches that are completely unique, but also proven to be highly effective. For a guy like Zabit, who mixes and mashes styles in such a fluid manner, there are just so many matchups in that top 10 that we've missed out on, because of Zabit's ongoing absence from the sport. I don't have an answer for the question of whether or not we'll see Magomedsharipov inside that octagon again. I know that the video being titled "Where the hell is Zabit" may indicate that I have an answer, but in reality I know just as much as you guys. Through his manager Ali Abdelaziz, and what little tidbits of information we do have, it does seem as though the featherweight contender's career is hanging in the balance, dependent on the resolution of an ongoing issue he has, an issue that causes problems with his immune system. According to Zabit's management, that issue required surgery, which, depending on how the time frame worked out, may have already happened. But basically all we can say for certain about Zabit's future is that there's not really much else that can be said about his condition until we have more information. His social media posts haven't really revealed too much other than the impressive length of his beard, and the fact that he still does appear to be spending time in the gym. So I suppose all that we can do now is just wait in anticipation of a more concrete update. On a side note, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads, before leaving a comment to let YouTube's algorithms know that we are fast becoming one of the best MMA channels on the platform. As November approaches, so too will the 2-year anniversary of this highly rated contender's last outing, his excellent 3-round matchup against Calvin Kattar. In that fight, we saw some holes in Zabit's game that turned a lot of people off of him, or in many ways, cooled down the levels of excitement that surrounded him. Those holes mainly came in the form of his cardio drop-off in that 3rd round, something that had also allowed the famously durable Kyle Bochniak to score some late cheers from the crowd when they matched up in 2017, as well as a few other fights here and there. And sure, it will be difficult to speculate as to how thoroughly Zabit will be able to address that issue during this off time, but I suppose when it comes to this Dagestan standout, the beauty of what he does comes from the very thing that saps his energy. I don't think his issues in the later stages of the fight are as genetic or inbred as many people think. Indeed they are to some extent, but his output, his variety of shots, his pace, it's all great to watch. It all completely baffles his opponents, and in many ways it makes Zabit Zabit. But during his original ascent, as he was beating lower tiered UFC featherweights before then taking a step up against guys like Jeremy Stephens and Calvin Kattar, fights that should have served as a bridge to a top 5 test. Personally, I was very interested to see how the wildness of Magomedsharipov would be tamed as the challenges in front of him became more difficult. I had held out hope that the concerns over Zabit's gas tank would see him eventually take a backstep in terms of that insanely creative, offensively relentless style that he generally comes out with. It's a trajectory that we've seen taken by guys like Yair Rodriguez and Anthony Pettis, guys who over time began to refine their games into something that was a lot more realistic at the top levels, keeping the things that made them special, but leaning a bit more on fundamentals. And the reason that I had been so hopeful for Zabit as a potential future champion was because of the fact that we had already seen this refinement begin. I remember watching this guy as he debuted live, taking on Mike Santiago on one of those European shows, and within that 1st round he had already vaulted off the side of the cage for a Showtime kick, before spinning like a madman, determined to show us all just how diverse an arsenal he had at his disposal. But Zabit's fundamentals are actually superb. And over the course of his 6 UFC outings, we've seen him begin to work his way towards a fighting style that is more feasible over a full fight. He's not there yet, but still. Either way, I think what I'm trying to say here is that I was just quite excited to see how this guy would tie it all together as he grew into the sport. And to be honest, the fact that his career is currently hanging in the balance is an almighty shame. There wasn't a more highly touted prospect in the sport. And though we have noted Zabit to be more human than we had before, I really do hope that this guy is able to return to competition sooner rather than later. To think of all of the amazing matchups that could be made for him within that top 8, they're all tantalizing fights. And though it certainly has been a slow rise, If all plays out as it's meant to and we see Zabit late this year or in early 2022, he'll no doubt help in making this already stellar weight class even better. But what do you make of Zabit Magomedsharipov and his clear potential within this 145-pound title picture? And who would you like to see him face if he does in fact return before the year is out? Do let us know your opinions in the comments section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.